Hi everyone, this is Holly, and welcome to my fall series. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. DIY number 1. Today we're using this really cute Dollar Tree summer sign, and where I live they're in abundance, you guys, because no one's been shopping. So for my first 2 fall videos I'm starting off with summer decor, and I'm starting early in hopes that you guys can find these things if you want to join along and craft with me. As you can see, when I went to tear those 2 front little strawberry and leaves off, it tore, so I ended up having to turn it over and paint the back, but that's okay. I just gave it 1 coat of my chalk paint and then I blow dry it. And now I'm distressing with a little bit of dark gray. You can use any gray you want. One of my favorite things to do is put, as you can see right here, really dark gray streaks on, and then after it dries I'll put a little bit more white chalk paint over it, and it gives it a nice worn old rustic look that I think looks better than just distressing. Sometimes you can see it here. It actually changes the color in areas and kind of makes it look a bit dirty. I love that look. So it doesn't really hide mistakes, but anyway, it works for distressing. So here's a sign that I made up myself, and the free printable is down below in my description box. And if you click that link, it'll take you to the printable and you can just print it up from there. You guys, I chose the last name Fowler for the farms, Fowler Farms. I looked everywhere for a last name that I thought would be the perfect farmer name, and I got such a kick out of this. Do you guys get it? You know how there's chicken and there's turkey on a farm, you know, fowl? I'm kind of nerdy with that one, but I had to go for it. You may have noticed I cut off the phrase 1 gallon jug 10 cents off the bottom. It's because I wanted it turned up sideways at an angle on the side, but when you print it out it will all be one piece. So here I am using a red pencil. I'm a big fan of colored pencils. It's a great way to kind of mimic an ink stamp. I'm not worried if it leaves some little pencil marks behind, because paint does that too with the brush strokes, but you get a much more mellow, softer result. And these are the ones that I use. They're not too expensive, but they do have to be high quality colored pencils because they have like an oily center and they're real soft, and they work kind of like a colored pencil and a pastel mixed, and I love them. So I do recommend you guys get colored pencils and have them as backup. They're really fun to work with, and I'm just wrapping the handle up with some Walmart twine right now. And the holidays are the one time that I completely advocate Dollar Tree signs. Dollar Tree signs, they rock because they're nice and thin and take up very little storage. So very practical to use with the holidays. Otherwise you'd have like 20 boxes to store. And here I'm just taking a black colored pencil and I'm putting in the little marks to make it look like a jar. And I'm going to glue some twine around the top as well to kind of balance it out with the twine on the handle. And here is some Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon I got last year around Christmas time. I love this stuff in red. And I'm making a bow by just pinching it together and then tying it in the middle. I've been doing that since forever, since I was a teenager, I think, because my bows always looked kind of tweaked when I tied them. I just recently learned how to tie one of these bows that look like this, but they're tied. You have to tie it like in reverse. I got that video from Marta at Cuban Curls. She mentions it in one of her videos where she learns how, and I'll tell you, it's wonderful, but I wasn't confident enough to do it on film yet. So I decided to add a red button, but it's a little bit too bright for me, and I just age it a little bit with burnt umber. And I do the same thing to the ribbon because we're going all farmhouse here. We want it to look kind of rustic and distressed, and it comes out really good. And look at this, you guys. That is seriously, seriously farmhouse cute. I love this sign. I hope you guys can find them too at the Dollar Tree. I don't know why they take them away. The handle is perfect for fall. DIY number 2. You're going to need some Dollar Tree checkers, a cinnamon stick, and a sharp instrument to cut your cinnamon stick. Go gentle so you don't crumble it. If you don't have a thick cinnamon stick, go ahead and use small ones and glue them all together. I've seen that before. And some orange paints. Now I'm taking my red checkers. I didn't need the red ones. I have black ones. I needed those and I like those, but the red, I'm like so happy to find something to do with it or them. But first I paint a dark orange on, and then I sponge. Like I really sponge up and down a lighter orange so that it dries looking velvety, and it kind of hides all the imperfections, and it gives it texture and dimension. It gives it actually a really pretty look at the end. But this is really on trend right now, these little pumpkins. You see them on Pinterest, and they are made out of all kinds of things. I think that's the game, is just what can we make a pumpkin out of today? So I wanted to have a go, and I decided to use these checkers. And this is actually going to be like a little 3-tier tray decorations. I wanted to throw those in there so you guys have some ideas. And it ended up coming up surprisingly pretty. So I want to glue on this little tiny leaf. It has dark edges, and I want the big one to match. So I take a little burnt umber, and that's what you saw me doing, is just darkening the edges. And I also darken the edges of the pumpkin, and I also use the burnt umber to paint on the glue in the center if it was showing where the trunk is, because obviously it's open all throughout the sides. And that worked brilliantly. You cannot even see where the glue is. It actually added more like rustic, and I don't know, it added a really pretty look to it. So it came out really nice. I was really pleased with how this came out. Look how cute that is. Okay, so we're going to go on to pumpkin number 2 now. You're going to need a hula skirt or some raffia. My hula skirt's from the Dollar Tree, and my shower curtain little rings there are also from the Dollar Tree. And when you take the hula skirt, you cut it in those little sections. You can see there's like little sections there. It's sections of 3 strands. So you're working with well, if you use a hula skirt, you're going to be working with 3 strands. And the object is just to wrap these up and cover them completely with raffia and or the hula skirt, which, I don't know if that's raffia or some kind of straw, but it works. And that's it. So these hula skirts were available really easily at my Dollar Trees. Finger crossed you guys can find them, but I'm showing you this item here in hopes that you can find it too. We're not doing a DIY today, we're doing it next week, but if you want to play along, I wanted to show you what you're looking for. I found it in the area where the plastic chargers are, those plates, and hopefully it's still there, and pool noodles. You need 2 of them. I have a really neat Christmas DIY planned with pool noodles, and if you can't find this stuff, don't stress, because they come out every year, or things that are very similar, and you can always go back to my videos and look at what we did, because obviously they're pretty much going to go all year because they're for the holidays. And I'm just gluing the wrapped rings in the same formation we did with the orange pumpkin. And I use a lot of glue. Now off camera, when I'm all done filming, I don't know why I filmed these, you guys. I staged them with glue on, but the glue comes off really easy off of this hula skirt straw, whatever it is. And I just use those small little tweezers you see to the right there, and I pick the glue off. So voila. And here I'm adding some raffia that I bought at Michael's a few years back. And I'm just going to decorate them with seasonal autumn garnishes. These are actually my first 3-tier tray decor for autumn that I'm making. And I just wanted to share it with you. So even though the Farmhouse Cutie series came to an end, I'm going to keep showing you some Farmhouse Cuties here for these seasons. And there's the Dollar Tree sunflower that I put in there, and look at how pretty these came out, you guys. They are so high-end looking. One looks like velvet, the other one looks like straw. They are perfect for fall decor. DIY number 3. Here's my inspiration pieces. They are so cute. They're from Kirkland's, $64.99. They are so easy to make, you guys. All you need is craft sticks. I mean, seriously, this is probably one of the simpler DIYs I've done this year. Oh, maybe not. I think there was one that was a little bit easier. But I needed 11 craft sticks all together. And the last 2 you need to cut at angles so that it takes the shape of the pumpkin. like you see me doing right here. I'm just measuring and then I'm cutting them at angles. And you could use thicker wood if you want. I mean, I do have some trim in the garage that I could have used for thicker wood, but like I mentioned previously, I love it thin at the holidays. They're much easier to store that way. They don't take up as much room because there's not as much bulk. So it looked perfect. It looked just like it when I was all done. I think mine's cuter actually. Now I end up using hot glue here because I thought hot glue would hold it. My bad. Oh, you guys, off camera, I ended up having to squirt wood glue down there. Live and learn. I thought hot glue would hold it. Sometimes it does, but it totally did not. It started coming apart, and I do want this to last at least 2 seasons. Even though I switch crafts out a lot because I make a lot, I do want this to last. And here are my shims from Home Depot, 42 pack, 15 inches, and here's what's neat about them. The ends are super thin because they're made at a graduated angle, and you don't need any special saws or tools to cut them. You can do it just right where you're sitting. Super easy with scissors. I use wood glue, and the way you glue these down is in opposite directions. So if you have the left thick side laying on the ground, you're going to want to put the top one with the thick side on the right side in the opposite direction, and when you glue it down, it's a level surface. And it's perfect for a base because it's thicker than a paint stick and it doesn't have a lot of seams like the towering blocks do. I don't really like those for bases because I don't think they're structurally sound, but these are cheap and they work great for that. Dry brushing with the Territorial Beige because I want to deepen the cream color a little bit because that's what the Kirkland one looks like, and it ends up working great, comes out perfect, and I'm really happy with it. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some watered down burnt umber paint with a little bit of black in it to stain the stem and to stain the base as well. Using a little bit of hot glue, which did work for the thankful sign, and this is from the Dollar Tree. Also, it gets really hot, you guys, because it's metal, so be careful if you have these not to press down with your fingers because you'll get a nice little burn. And when I put it in the I guess the spot that I want for it to be, I put just a little strip of glue behind each one of the craft sticks, and then I use the wooden blocks from the towering game from the Dollar Tree, and I glue it behind each of the craft sticks, and it works out great, you guys, because they're the same width, so you can't see them at all from the front. And now I'm just going to go ahead and glue on a little bit of wire from the Dollar Tree that I spun around a pencil. And I have this pretty little orange flower, and I'm just going to start putting some fall garnishes on this. I'm using some of that leftover stain just to distress the leaves a little bit and darken them up so that they're not so green. And I'm adding a fall leaf there. And I decided to use one of the Dollar Tree wooden beads in orange and glue it in the center because I just thought that looked so cute and high end. And I'm adding another little wire because I noticed the one in the photo had 2 little wires on the top, and I think that's super, super cute. And there it is, super, super cute, very high end looking and very budget friendly. DIY number 4. Another summer item I'd like you to try and find. It's a coconut cup from the Dollar Tree. I saw this and I knew immediately what I was going to do with it. I was so excited, and there were quite a few left at my Dollar Tree, so I hope you guys can find it. If you can't, try to find a similar shape. And you're going to need 2 wine corks, and I use wine corks because I cannot for the life of me find those package of wood little stems that everybody else seems to find from their Dollar Tree. I have never seen it once in any of my Dollar Trees in my region. So I have to do the wine corks. You can also get wine corks from Hobby Lobby and Michael's. You can order them on Amazon. Mine are free because during the holidays I usually buy like 2 or 3 bottles of wine, and I've been saving them for 10 years. So I have tons of wine corks from, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and my sister gives me hers. So I will run out eventually, and then I will have to buy them. But today we are making a faux acorn, and this is going to be the top of the acorn. I'm going to show you in just a minute what a real acorn looks like. There it is. That's what we're going to kind of strive to imitate. I probably wanted a little neater than that, but more or less, it's good to see the real thing. It gives you guidelines because it tells you that although we're going to have these little discs on, these little circle discs, they don't have to be perfect. So if you have to cut some uneven shapes or odd shapes to get it to fit or, cover the bottom, it's fine. And it's also fine not to cover every single section because there are definitely flat sections on the real acorn shell. And I also collected those for another DIY, you guys. I live by tons of oak trees, so we have acorn galore. So I'm going to show you here too how important it is that you make sure you're gluing underneath like that. So it has that formation where everything's just kind of trickling down and it's underneath each one of those little shells. And again, it doesn't have to be, or wine corks, not shells, sorry. But it doesn't have to be perfect because as you can see, real acorns are definitely the farthest thing away from perfection. You all probably noticed too that I painted the entire coconut shell with a dark brown color. It was burnt umber. You can use any dark brown you want. And here you see me gluing that top on. Don't do that. I ended up having to tear it off to put the stem on. So I just wanted to point that out. And I'm also pointing out the little uneven shape I put there and how good it looks. It adds texture, dimension, and realism to the entire craft. So here I'm using my Sisal rope and I'm going to wrap it around the bottom, and I get 164 feet for $23.99. You can get 100 feet at Walmart for $14.99. So I'm not sure, I didn't do the math, I don't know. I think mine might be a little cheaper, but I'm not sure. Someone tell me in the comments. But that's only if you need a large quantity like I do because I craft a lot. If you're just needing some Sisal rope for a craft, then Walmart offers 10 feet for $8. I also have a cat, so I know I can always use this when the scratching post goes bye-bye. But if you're interested in the one that I bought, it's below in my description box. There's a link there. It'll take you right to it. Most of my crafting items are, I try to do that for you to help you out there because I know I always have questions and I usually look in the description box to see if people have listed it there. And I'm always so happy when they do. So here you're going to see how when I get to the bottom, I don't glue it to the bottom of the coconut shell, but I wrap it up on top of itself. So I'm starting to glue it now on top of itself, and I'm going to wrap it up so that it's pointy like a real acorn. And I have some more information about this awesome blue silicone spatula that I use. This week's shout outs, Duty. She lets me know that this is originally for mascara that you put under your eyelashes. She's now using it for crafts because of me, and that you can get it from e.l.f. products as well. Lilani Dixon tells me that these are found on Amazon, 5 for $5.68. I bought them there. And last but not least, Margaret Mangun. She lets me know they're at Walmart as well for 97 cents. So thank you to my awesome subscribers for letting us know where we can get those awesome spatulas because they are fantastic for crafting. And here I am trying to start a house fire. Just kidding. I love burning Sisal rope though. All joking aside, because it's natural, it smells like a campfire in my craft room. It is so pretty. And I'm just adding some burnt umber on the top of this acorn to make it look more like the real acorn top that I showed you at the beginning of this craft. And just dry brushing a little bit of that burnt umber onto the bottom base. This is just a little bit of scrap wood that I had left. And I'm using it. I wanted a thicker, heavier base for this because it's pretty heavy with the Sisal rope on it. And there's some drift wood that I have left over from when I collected it on the beach. And I'm gluing it on top with hot glue that holds it perfect. It's just fine. And here I am looking for the best side before I glue it down. And that little leaf right there is off of the Dollar Tree pumpkin they're selling right now for the fall season. I thought it would be perfect on my acorn. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is one of those crafts that I had a certain expectation, but when I was finished, I was like, wow, this is my favorite one. I love all of them, but this one was a wow. And, you know, my husband was wow. Everybody was wow. I absolutely love this. It came out so rustic and so cute. And you know what? Go out and find the shape, you guys, in a plastic container, a vase, anything you can find, because this is so expensive looking. It is literally a statement piece in my fall decor, and I am absolutely in love. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel get noticed. And of course, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.